My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, you'll see the images that I'm taking of Ontario PD flying in circles over the storefront over my head and continuously pacing above. This is the entity engaged in just like what Cool Transport was engaging in, monitoring what I'm doing online, and then trying to block the internet signal with regard to criminal activity that this entity, namely Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, the City of Ontario, the State of California, the Ontario Police Department, things concerning sex trafficking, things concerning pedophilia, things concerning public officials engaging in such sex acts against, minor children or adults that they're gang stalking. The entity tends to engage in what is stalking by helicopter, which is, again, a very imprudent and documented pattern of threatening conduct pursuant to federal stalking. This is relevant to Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks that conspired to engage in sex trafficking and did commit sex trafficking as an entity. The gang stalking police shared in sex trafficking. It's government action. This is P.O.C. That's why the entity is flying over me in engineered light and is doing so for a prolonged period, because they were flying over here in a circle, and they're doing so pursuant to what I'm looking at on my phone as I look at it, pursuant to the entity that is monitoring. Okay, P.O.C. This is criminal conduct by Tracy Banks, sex trafficker, pedophile. Jason Isaac Fields, a sex trafficker, a pedophile. P.O.C. All right, I did want to show, I just posted it on X, over 30 minutes, 12:26 p.m. It's currently 12:58 a.m. Ontario PD is engaged in terrorism, pacing up and down Euclid Avenue, and pacing by helicopter, flying repeatedly and amplifying helicopter activity. This is monitoring. It's demonic, and it's also directly threatening conduct while the entity is engaged in surveillance on the internet, particularly pertaining to what is content that is relevant to what the Ontario Police Department, the State of California, the Los Angeles Police Department, engaging what is things such as placing cameras in my apartment, placing cameras in my hotel rooms, watching me in the nude, putting me on the internet while they are gang stalking. This is sex trafficking committed by the government that then engages in, as I view content that is even relevant to that topic, immediately initiating gang stalking by helicopter in concert with the people of the state who are co-conspiring murder of the targeted individual whom the entity has committed egregious sex acts against, pedophilia, and also sex trafficking, including on the venue of the internet. This is Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks' criminal engagement, and their co-defendant Ontario Police uses helicopter activity as a means of threatening and harassment. This is the ongoing concession to federal stalking. This is where the entity is maintaining ongoing impossible light activity. So I will show you what is the engineer light. This is, again, multiple shadows. The entity is targeting by flying in circles over me, and this is over 30 minutes. It's not an emergency. This is what I'm documenting the Ontario Police doing every day, everywhere that I'm at, on this street, Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun rises and sets over me on this street. That's P.O.C. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison, and so are a lot of other people that shared in sex trafficking, and they're going to federal prison because the entity engages in what is domestic. As you are enforcing and exercising your First Amendment right to look at, first of all, whatever you want on the internet, but second of all, when it pertains to criminal activity that the entity has committed, pertaining to sex crimes by this government, that the City of Ontario shares in with its co-conspirator, Tracy Banks, the pedophile, Jason Isaac Fields, sex trafficker. This is what the entity engages in. And this is the satanic pacing where they're doing all over the city over me. This is P.O.C. It's currently 1 a.m. This is the entity initiating at 12:26, the moment that I start viewing content online pertaining to sex trafficking that this entity committed against the target individual. That is myself. So that topic being addressed, immediately helicopter activity is starting, and this is what the entity is doing for 30 minutes. This is P.O.C. It is currently 1 a.m. The people of the state are monitoring with them. This is the entity that's triggered by its criminal activity even being discussed, even about another person, another government. The topic itself initiates the ongoing documented acts of terrorism that I've documented the Ontario Police Department engaging in. And remember who's going to federal prison. C. Torres, L. Martinez, B. Hook, Nathan Morgan. The entity that's engaging in kidnapping includes also L. Edwards, A. Quesada, and Alex Escobar. They're going to federal prison. They're engaged in surveillance, and they committed kidnapping. They were not engaged in anything other than criminal surveillance with the people of the state. That includes at the Starbucks, where they're engaging in kidnapping right here at this venue, like I documented. They're going to federal prison while I'm continuously accumulating evidence of the Ontario Police engaging in what is gang stalking, criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C., and this is not helpful to the case against Tracy Banks and Jason Fields. They're both going to prison. P.O.C. All right, this is a Popmans engaged in ongoing surveillance with the City of Ontario, the State of California. And that's Impossible Light. That's on the passenger side of that truck while they're driving in an engineer light, demons, monitoring, stalking, engaging in the pattern of flashing of light In the engineered light, that's extra, that's gang stalking, engaging in surveillance, a sex offender as a company, a sex offender, a demon operating the vehicle. This is the fake sun that's in perfect alignment where the Ontario police are gang stalking. This is where the fake sun rises over me, where the people of the state are driving in engineered light. The shadow of their vehicles on the opposite side of the street are appearing on the road. That's impossible light activity. These are demons who are targeting, which is proven through an environment. They're engaging in that pattern of conduct while they are together as a population, demon-possessed, sex-offending, co-conspirators to murder, who are gang stalking as a state system. It is 415 North Euclid Avenue. It's 6:43 a.m. This is where the entity was targeting in helicopter activity, letting you know also the indicator of Ontario police stalking me in particular. And it's also relevant to the criminal activity that this entity has engaged in, sex trafficking. Appearing on the passenger side of their vehicles. That's impossible light activity. While they're engaged in that P.O.C, and the entity's engaged in stalking the light, they're all driving in engineer light monitoring, pacing back and forth, while the entity maintains impossible light activity, as I've already shown you, moving at the top of the building, which is impossible light activity as well, while demons are stalking, knowing exactly who you are, okay? This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:43 a.m. There's not going to be any sun in alignment with the economy in at 2315 South Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking me with the fake sun at the grocery outlet, at the economy inn at that mobile while I'm in that parking lot. The fake sun's going to remain on the end of economy in alignment with me, because the Ontario International Airport, that is WAPNER, is gang stalking in the psychopathic manner of using commercial planes in furtherance of a criminal conspiracy by the state to commit murder, while they engage in psychological torture as a population that is all stalking together in a supernatural environment, a specific environment, an environment tailored to targeting me. That's P.O.C. It's 6:44 a.m. All right, this is the entity stalking with the method of light activity. This is harassment, while the entity engages in a pattern of psychological torture and stalking under the fake sun. Remember, the entity is doing the same thing at Philadelphia and Euclid, where the Ontario International Airport is flying over the sidewalk over my head. They're doing so at the CHEVRON, where the fake sun is also present at 5 in the evening. They're doing so at the CHEVRON, where the entity is stalking by helicopter. They're doing so while they are stalking in the path, and the demons are inside of the CHEVRON stalking. This is license 8VLR070, and what you'll also pay attention to is this is where the fake moon is over me last night upon my exit of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is where the fake sun is present. This is P.O.C. 8VLR070, monitoring with the minor child, monitoring with the rest of them as well, 8EOH706, 6UXU009. These are the demons that are monitoring a vagina, my vagina that's in the bathroom of that library that's right across the same parking lot where the fake sun is setting on this same street. This is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C, and this is relevant to psychological torture, co-conspirators to murder, while they stalk as a population. And gang stalking immigrants, gang stalking mothers are a threat to children, all right? They are monitored. Channel 5, by the way. This is P.O.C, pattern of conduct. License MS Heart MIA, that's the P.O.C. It is currently 7:24 a.m. By the way, Channel 5 is the one that tells you about the weather, tell you about how hot it's going to be, tells you about the sun and the sunrise. What they're not telling you about is the fake sun that is unique to an individual in the state while they're reporting to you as meteorologists. And they're in this specific environment, and this is not the only gang stalking newscast that I've documented. Telemundo is a gang stalker as well, under the fake sun in Fontana, California, over me, monitoring. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:25 a.m. All right, this is 215 East C Street. This is the fake sun that's in alignment with me as I'm walking from across the street. This is a demon that's in custody of minor children while conspiring the murder of another person, of being a homosexual, while again living the life of what is ostensibly a heterosexual woman with children. She is stalking another woman. She's monitoring. She's also mentally ill while she's engaged in what is stalking with light activity at the CHEVRON at 506 North Euclid Avenue, which, by the way, the entity has the fake sun at 7:20 a.m. yesterday at American Inn. The morning of waking up at American Inn, the fake sun is over my hotel room window along Euclid Avenue, and that fake sun remains stationary, which I capture again during the 11 a.m. hour. That's relevant also to understanding the targeting conduct and the mental illness shared by the entity that is gang stalking. It is also notable that that is a parking lot that's across the way from this OVITT Family Community Library. The same OVITT Family Community Library that will have this sun at the entrance as I walk in at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is the entity that is engaging in what is an unpersuasive and unintelligent and scientifically impossible illusion. All right, 9:46 a.m. You will see the image uploaded of Ontario Police again stalking, following by helicopter, and the evidence is, first of all, the fake sun's on the same Euclid Avenue that it was where it was rising in perfect alignment with my person, where the Ontario Police were stalking by helicopter pursuant to surveillance on the venue of the internet early this morning at 12 o'clock. This is where the entity is on the same Euclid Avenue at the Ontario Town Square, where the fake sun is over me. That's where demons are engaging in criminal surveillance. This is stalking and domestic terrorism by a terrorist organization. View the list of the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police who are going to federal prison. They're listed for you to witness justice and the targeting of domestic terrorists in the United States and the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. The entity's engaging with is stalking, as you're also aware of the environment. The entity kept the fake sign outside of my window of American Inn at 755 North Euclid Avenue, as I documented. And from 7:29 a.m., I believe, until what is after 11 a.m., that fake sun did not move. And so the sun is also not going to engage in some sort of chicanery of being all over, up and down the entirety of Euclid Avenue that runs north and south. And that would be the same experience for everyone as well. That's not the natural environment. This is the entity that is stalking through that evidence of following where the fake sun is located. And this is where a bunch of demons are co-conspiring murder together, sharing in stalking, sharing in harassment, sharing in terrorism, sharing in psychological torture. At 224 North Euclid Avenue, which is not going to be anywhere outside of the window of the 755 North Euclid Avenue American Inn Hotel that's facing the direction east, okay? This is where the entity has the fake sun, and the Ontario Police are stalking by helicopter, okay? This is P.O.C. All right, and just for your reminder, C. Torres, L. Martinez, Nathan Morgan, B. Hook, C. Hazelwood, Owens, L. Edwards, A. Quesada, and Alex Escobar. They're all going to federal prison, and those are the kidnappers as of 2025. There is a substantial list of kidnappers acting in furtherance of conspiracy to murder pursuant to state targeting that the Ontario Police is engaging in. This is an entirely illegitimate agency that's engaged in domestic terrorism, and they're doing so in concert with the people of the state, and it is also exposing what is a satanic means of targeting someone and psychologically torturing them, preceding what is murder. That's committed as an entity under the corrupt leadership of Gavin Newsom, and locally in Ontario, Paul Leon. The entity is again engaging in what is harassment by stalking in a manner that is perceptible by flying again by helicopter. These are demons that are engaging in what is satanic. It's while they're monitoring, and they're doing so pursuant to what is evidence, and you're going to legally analyze any stalker that's conspiring murder like the Ontario Police, and the demon flying that helicopter is also subject to federal prison, as is every other demon of the Ontario Police conspiring my murder by documenting criminal acts of gang stalking me, which is relevant to everything that I've documented about this agency in the city of Ontario. And there is no sun over 224 North Euclid Avenue that is outside of my American Inn Hotel window, which is what I documented on September 1st, 2025. And then on that day, remember, I'm walking north up east on G Street to Ramada by Wyndham, where the entity has the fake sun remaining over the OVITT Family Community Library. Also relevant evidence of the targeting by the Ontario Police, which is already on the record, and it is also speaking to what the entity is doing right now. This is currently 9:50 a.m. The demons of the Ontario Police are subject to federal prison, and so is Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks. They are both going to federal prison for conspiring with the entity of demons that are engaging in terrorism as a corrupt government system. And this is exposing what's going on in the rest of the country. If you're paying attention to my documentation on YouTube, the entity is keeping the fake sun at this time of year over me at the Hesperia Holiday Inn at 9750 Key Point, which is another analytical framework for showing specific targeting of me in particular, which is already proven by the ongoing kidnapping and criminal defamation by the Ontario Police, who are demons, and the people of the state, who are demons, engaging in a demonic pattern of conduct such as stalking with light, stalking under a fake moon, and stalking under a fake sun. The entity is doing so pursuant to that ongoing evidence, which it is also keeping under surveillance, okay? This is the entity that is, again, listed on X with regard to your witnessing those who are subject to federal prison, while the ongoing evidence of what they committed while I was in their presence and they committed kidnapping under the guise of being a legally authorized, constitutionally authorized officer, and they are none of that. They are engaged in public corruption. They're engaged in what is state targeting. They're doing so in furtherance of a conspiracy to murder, which is also that which is in concert with Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields and every other state and third party that conspired my murder and targeting, which there is a body of evidence surrounding that as well, relevant to the targeting by the Ontario Police. It is currently, again, 9:51 a.m. And this is P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is targeting specifically by helicopter with a specific intent to psychologically torture, harass, terrorize, and threaten, okay? This is P.O.C. at 224 North Euclid Avenue. The image of the entity stalking, flying, again, next to the fake sun that's over my head at 224 North Euclid Avenue and is not remaining, as I'm documenting on September 1st, 2025, outside of the window at 755 North Euclid Avenue. That's American Inn, and the room that I am inside of in that window in perfect alignment with that bathroom window where I'm at, where the population is stalking me inside of that hotel room. This is impossible to coexist, and it's also impossible that the sun would be on the same street. And in fact, even over the same person, even as I documented the sunrise at 6:47 a.m. This is the pattern of conduct, okay? 3 hours later, ongoing targeting. The entity, this is 9 hours later, targeting by that same agency using helicopter and the same engineered light. This is that psychopathic and deranged targeting system, which is relevant to psychological torture before co-conspirators to murder, like the Ontario Police, engage in that crime. And that is why you're going to federal prison. Those that are targeting of the Ontario Police Department. It's 9:52 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, terrorizing and threatening, gang stalking with the Ontario Police, license 5JJD206, doing so with Wells Fargo. This is a Latina female. License 8RWA876, the same. Gang stalking with a Latino male, that's remaining in relevant position under the fake sun. Excuse me, 8RWA871, I believe.
It's just nothing but jealousy.
Yeah, this is the entity that's gang stalking the Ontario town squares where the fake sun is present. It's not going to be outside of any American Inn hotel window that's facing Euclid Avenue. And nor would the sun be outside of the same window 4 hours later, okay? That's the entity that is targeting, and where the entity is engaging in targeting, the entity engages in the hallmark of stalking and terrorizing and harassing by helicopter with the intent to psychologically torture the person that the government has conspired to murder, okay, for a very specific purpose. And they're doing so as an entity. Sorry for that background audio. The entity is engaging in this in concert with the people of the state that are stalking at Ontario Town Square. It includes 9HYX773. License plate. Let me turn that audio off, sorry. License plate 8VXF855. Wells Fargo. Sorry, I thought I turned that off.
It's not easy.
Wells Fargo, located at 240 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. Mule Cart Smokehouse, located at 200 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity is gang stalking as well by helicopter, targeting me. The fake sun is over me at this same location at 6 p.m., which is what I documented as well, which is the entity. You're looking at the big picture in addition to what is common sense. This is the same Euclid Avenue, 415 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity has the sunrise. I'm at 224 North Euclid Avenue. This is, again, a block away. So separated from, this is C Street. It's on in between D and E Street, where the entity has the sunrise. It's the same street, and the fake sun is also over me in alignment to me, stalking. 6NMN639, and so is Wells Fargo. So is the City of Ontario. So is the City Hall. So is the OVITT Family Community Library, that parking lot where I'm showing you the fake sun at 7:31 a.m. It's still over me at 9:45, and you know that it's still here. That's why I'm capturing it in the middle of the afternoon as I step out and show you a picture of the fake sun at 2:44 in the afternoon, where the Ontario Police is gang stalking me, specifically in helicopter, while these idiots have a list of demons that are going to federal prison of the Ontario Police Department. Again, their names are C. Torres, L. Martinez, B. Hook, Nathan Morgan, C. Hazelwood, Owens, L. Edwards, and A. Quesada, and Alex Escobar. Those are the demons that are going to federal prison because they engaged in kidnapping while targeting in the way in which the Ontario Police Department are doing so, in the same manner that the Los Angeles Police Department are under the fake sun, which is relevant to what's going on at Alvarado Gardens and in Los Angeles at this time of year. It's the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct while the entity is keeping the fake sun, and the San Diego Police Department and San Diego County Sheriff are gang stalking by helicopter in the same environment at this same time of year. The entities engaged in this while the Pasadena Police Department are engaged in gang stalking by helicopter in the same specific environment at the same time of year. This is relevant to, again, my leaving Alvarado Gardens, where the entity's keeping the fake sun from sunrise till sunset, and then I move. I travel from hotel to hotel, and the entity keeps the fake sun over me at every single last hotel, on the roads and the highways, including where Joseph Lombardo is gang stalking as a corrupt governor in the state of Nevada, which is relevant to what the Metropolitan Police Department in Las Vegas are engaging in by helicopter under the fake sun, what Nevada State Police are engaging in with regard to criminal summoning at this time of year under the fake sun, while the Ontario Police are gang stalking on one street under a fake sun from sunrise until sunset. That's the entity that is engaging in state targeting, and the entity that's kidnapping, the list of demons of corrupt domestic terrorists is what they are, and domestic terrorists are being targeted with regard to being prosecuted and exposing terrorism in the United States, and they're going to federal prison. All right, and they are listed for your viewing pleasure, for you to witness justice. They are listed with regard to kidnappings committed this year with Tracy Banks, with the people of the state. Starbucks is a part of the entity conspiring my murder while they are gang stalking me inside of that establishment at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct, and you're going to federal prison for that. And those names of those corrupt domestic terrorists are on X, and they are also on the YouTube channel. This is the P.O.C. on the post, and you can see the names of the specific actors. They're engaged in targeting in the same way that the entity is with helicopter. That's the hallmark of the demon possessed. As this is how California, in other words, engages in state terrorism, domestic terrorism. It's the hallmark in this specific environment, as I've exposed to you, because there's no sun in Florida while it's remaining on one street from sunrise until sunset. The sun that's in Florida, wherever you are that are listening to me, there's more than one in Florida necessarily, which is, again, the specific environment where targeting is underway. It's demonic. And it's also speaking to what is not the same light source that's over me at the Ontario Town Square, what was remaining through my hotel room window at American Inn at the same time on the 1st, and also what would be over in Florida as well, okay? 12339H3 is a domestic terrorist that's monitoring my vagina, just like I expose, and while the homosexuals walk into the bathroom, and the sex offenders that are gang stalking by surrounding that bathroom, doing so under a fake sun that remains over the OVITT Family Community Library, and terrorists like that engage in psychological torture by stalking with impossible light. They are doing so in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder of the person that they are psychologically harming by stalking with light. That's P.O.C. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison, and so is all of the listed terrorists of the Ontario Police that are currently, as of 2025, committing kidnapping, sharing in conspiracy to murder, 8YPD 474, and engaging in what is a sex offense and terrorism with impossible light, driving a burgundy Grand Cherokee Jeep. Doing so as I'm walking into the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library at 10:03 a.m. This is the entity that is stalking as a population and then keeping the fake sun while I'm at the American Inn on the 1st. And it's still there as I exit after 11 a.m. And then it remains over me as I walk what is east on G Street. And then the entity has the fake sun. What the entity did yesterday was covered up the fake sun as I arrived after 10 a.m. Because they're listening to my documentation. This is the entity that's monitoring with the people, 9MZP663, and this is federal prison. This is the impunity. They're going to federal prison. Stalking by helicopter all night and gang stalking while they're molesting with impossible light activity. License 1697636. The fake sun's remaining after 6 p.m. That's a Latino male, vehicle 1119. Impossible lights all over the ground. That's a demon. Impossible light along the library. That's P.O.C. I'm capturing video of it. That's a Latino male. He's going to federal prison. That's a terrorist organization conspiring murder with Tracy Banks, conspiring murder with Jason Isaac Fields, engaging repeated acts of kidnapping. L. Edwards. There's no sun at Starbucks while it's remaining over what is my hotel room in American Inn, while it's remaining over me in Hesperia. This is the entity that is engaging in kidnapping. That's what L. Edwards is committing. And the entity goes out of its way right now to gang stalk in an Ontario Police Department vehicle amongst what is the impossible light and under the fake sun. The entity is doing so while the federal government is watching the ongoing execution of terrorism by a people of the state who are engaged in monitoring my vagina and then shutting down the bathroom while they monitor that evidence. That's what those sex offenders committed. That's what Starbucks committed when I documented them as the sex offenders that they are as well. Pay attention to the pattern of evidence of monitoring evidence, of keeping evidence under surveillance, rather. The entity is engaging in this while the fake sun is remaining over the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library, but I'm remaining at the American Inn, and I don't come anywhere near what is C Street and Euclid. On the 1st, I walk east on G Street to Ramada by Wyndham when the entity is keeping the fake sun over me. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct and doing so with the intent to threaten while the demons of the Ontario Police, who are keeping a fake sun over the venue where they're engaging in surveillance, where they're engaging in the terrorism and the mentally ill conduct of stalking with impossible light as demons who are conspiring murder with the people of the state. This is also where they committed kidnapping on June 16, 2022. This is where the people of the state are going to federal prison. They share that impunity with the Ontario police who intentionally come to the venue while you're in the midst of documentation. That's exactly what you're going to play in court when the entity is speaking of and pleading to how many years you're going to federal prison, how egregious the criminal activity is, the impunity with which the terrorists act, and the entity that does so with a disdain for federal law, for terrorism in the United States, okay? It is currently, again, I did capture video on the phone went out, but you can see the beginning of it. You can see the entity in the specific environment. The entity is doing so pursuant to what is stalking with impossible light. That's not just a terrorist. That is a demon. Okay, light doesn't ricochet off of your car at distance and swipe across this building. Everybody inside of the library is a demon as well. And they're all engaged in stalking, walking around in engineered light, monitoring as though they're on their job, monitoring as though they're concerned with their books and their kids getting DVDs to learn about Barney the dinosaur, whatever activity methods are underway. This is ongoing surveillance, and it's malicious. And the Ontario Police Department are providing evidence against the people of the state. It's an unlawful threat posed by OVITT Family Community Library as well. The entity is keeping the fake sun, remember in the image, at 2:44 p.m.? The fake sun's over the entrance right now at 10 a.m. It was over the same library as I documented on video this morning at 7:31 a.m. This is evidence of targeting by the Ontario police who intentionally come and communicate that threat with the OVITT Family Community Library, monitoring my vagina, engaging in what is sexual violence and harassment while they're monitoring all day long with that same agency. All right, Paul Leon is sharing in that. He's right at 303 East B Street, which is right behind the OVITT Family Community Library where the mayor is gang stalking, and this is all under the corrupt Governor Gavin Newsom. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's 10:07 a.m. at 215 East C Street. This is relevant to impunity. And again, the domestic terrorists who are indeed going to federal prison while their partners lack any self-control. And you're going to look at the big picture surrounding all of them with evidence, what they're doing at the Ontario Town Square, what they're doing at the OVITT Family Community Library, what they're doing at the parking garage, what they're doing by helicopter, what they're doing at 303 North Euclid Avenue, where you're looking at the same location with the fake sun from sunrise until sunset. They're all going to federal prison. This is the disbanding of the Ontario Police. It's 10:07 a.m. That's terrorism by that agency in particular while they're being documented stalking by helicopter and stalking as an agency using vehicles for criminal conduct, the criminal expenditure of such resources, which Paul Leon is also aware of. They're doing so in concert with terrorists inside of this library. Okay, P.O.C. Good morning. I'm fine. How are you? Do you guys have any rooms available?
For the full 2 hours, at 12, I do have about 30-ish minutes available right now.
30 minutes available? And then I could, like, get another one, like, because you could do 2 hours total in a day, right?
Correct.
So I could do another increment of time later?
Yes.
In the same day? Okay.
Or I could do the full 2 hours at 12.
It's 10 right now. Okay, I'll just wait.
Okay, not a
Because I
problem.
think it's... Oh, are you sure people are in there right now?
It's empty right now, but it's only empty for 30 minutes.
Oh, you mean somebody has it for 10:30?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't see anybody in there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
What's your name again?
My name is Brianna.
Thank you, Brianna. Alrighty, well, first of all, I stepped outside of that same entrance that I walked in right now, and you're going to combine the video with the images that I just captured, because chronologically. I turned around immediately to get video of the demon-possessed people of the state who are stalking, engaging in psychopathic behavior. They're driving around in a circle. The turn circle is a means of providing what is pacing. This is what they're doing as an entity. Even if the turn circle wasn't there, they are incessantly pacing, driving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. The turn circle is literally the objective of the demon-possessed when they're going in circles, just pacing all around me. The entity is doing that while impossible light is flying all about, moving across the structures. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to include video of another example of that absolutely terrorizing and demonic conduct, which is supernatural. These are demons that are doing so, and it's the same entity when I walk out at 2:44 p.m. and the fake sun is still over the same entrance. This is the entity that's doing so, and who is sharing in that demonic pattern of conduct, who's sharing in that mentally ill, demented pattern, who's sharing in that psychological torture, and who's sharing in that stalking. It's the demons of the Ontario Police in that vehicle with that license plate, with the knowledge in real time of documentation. That's exactly what was happening at 12 o'clock this morning, pursuant to monitoring on the internet, pursuant to content that the demon possessed have committed, that they're triggered by, that they are also threatened by, and the entity, a psychopath, engages in what is threatening conduct when they feel threatened. When the reality is that you're going to federal prison for this, and it's also going to be all over the internet, and there is no, for example, Channel 5 News that's going to reasonably question the impropriety of what the Ontario Police Department is documented engaging in for a prolonged period in time, including in concert with the OVITT Family Community Library, okay? That's engaged in targeting and has engaged in targeting me inside of this venue. And this third party that you hear, actually this is a state actor while she's employed, and while she's helping me with the conference room selection, she's monitoring, and she's monitoring with the demon that's right outside as I'm documenting. I'm walking in, it's the same ceaseless pattern of conduct. And that's what you're mindful of. So the entity engages in this ridiculous conduct, covering up the fake sun as I arrive here after 12 p.m. yesterday, as though you're going to forget, as though it's a start over, as though that's covering up the evidence, as though that's, that is sufficient for not stalking under a fake sun. Okay, the entity is absolutely delusional, which you are deducing from the stalking with impossible light activity. Okay. Moreover, the entity is engaging in this conduct, and at the same time, the entity is engaging in a whole body of evidence of what's happening under the landmark of what is that light source that's remaining over me, remaining over the building where I'm inside of, and everybody inside of that building, including the employee you hear me speaking with, is targeting. All right, there's sex offenders engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they've been doing so for years. And the entity is targeting via Sean Thrasher and all the entity that I've documented engaged in targeting me, while they are engaged in conspiring murder and kidnapping, and then engaging in what is kidnapping with that terrorist organization that's stalking outside of the entrance of that same venue. Those are the demons that are engaging in domestic terrorism. Again, a federal prison is not only for the people of the state that engage in kidnapping, engage in criminal summoning, engage in what is systematic facilitation, which is intolerable means of aiding the government in murdering somebody that it is targeting. The entity is subject to federal prison as domestic terrorists that are corrupt law enforcement agencies, which is what Mike LORENZ and that entire agency represents. And again, going to federal prison based on the glaring targeting conduct, which the agency is under no circumstances even acting like they're not engaging in. And that's fine, because with the same pleasure it is to target terrorists and target enemies of the Constitution and enemies of American citizens, you're going to not only deport, you're going to imprison those that are part of corrupt agencies like the Ontario Police Department, aiding with terrorists who are the people of the state. Okay, and that is again C. Torres, L. Martinez, B. Hook, and Nathan Morgan engaging in the May 29, 2025 kidnapping with Tracy Banks, who's going to federal prison while she's targeting, as the Ontario Police and the people of the state are proving. Okay, she's going to federal prison for kidnapping with this same agency on May 29th. And on July 4th, 2025, this same agency, demons who are targeting, are committing kidnapping while doing so. And they committed kidnapping via L. Edwards, A. Quesada, and Alex Escobar, who are going to federal prison. And I've documented Alex Escobar gang stalking under the fake sun as well, in addition to the kidnapping that he committed on July 4th, 2025. He is going to federal prison by all accounts. All of them are. But this is the entity that has proven to be stalking under a whole fake sun as maniacal psychopaths conspiring murder together with the entity, including a so-called family community library, where they're pacing around in engineered light, where they're monitoring in a bathroom, stalking in a bathroom. That's the behavior of sex offenders and psychopaths. And that's the reality of what they are actually engaging in under the guise of a family community library title. And the entity is doing so with regard to federal prison for also C. Hazelwood and Owens, who engaged in kidnapping and criminal summoning in August of 2025, July and August of 2025. All right, this is P.O.C. This is context regarding the evidence that's serving for the greater purpose of a whole body of evidence showing targeting. Like I'm stating what's happening in Vegas, what's happening in Hesperia. Literally today, I'm remaining at Hesperia Holiday Inn. The entity is keeping a fake sun over that Holiday Inn. The entity engaged in yesterday keeping the fake sun over American Inn and then on specifically G Street over my head in the direction east, and then remaining at that hotel room. The entity is engaging what is keeping the fake sun as I return yesterday the 2nd, and then covering up the fake sun after I get on the Omnitrans bus and get off. And there's already a body of evidence of the entity keeping the fake sun from sunrise until sunset. In addition to that, the entity is engaging in what is a body of evidence of terrorizing with impossible light, which is the behavior of mentally ill psychopaths and sex offenders who are engaging in criminal surveillance, a whole system, and are not an actual family community library. It's a corrupt establishment where surveillance is underway with the government, which the Ontario Police and the OVITT Family Community Library, the City of Ontario, established in evidence. The fake sun is in the same position at 7:31 a.m. that it is as I enter at 10 o'clock, 10:03 to be specific, where the terrorists of the Ontario Police, these are demons that are wearing uniforms that they are incompetent to wear. And that department is being removed altogether, and they're also going to be identified and prosecuted. And with regard to the protection of American citizens, identifying terrorists in this country and identifying those who are incompetent, those who are a threat to the public, which is the entire agency of the Ontario Police, irrespective of whatever department. It is currently, again, 10:16 a.m. This is the entity. I'm showing you a ceaseless pattern of conduct while the employees are at the circulation desk, while they're pacing in and out of bathrooms, maintaining surveillance, while they're stalking and staring at books that they're not even actually reading. They're engaging in surveillance of one specific person, and that is myself. This is P.O.C. It's 10. This is the entity that's monitoring with the people, 9MZP663, and this is federal prison. This is the impunity. They're going to federal prison. Stalking by helicopter all night and gang stalking while they're molesting with impossible light activity. License 1697636. The fake sun's remaining after 6 p.m. That's a Latino male, vehicle 1119. The current time is 11:55. It's Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. This is a quick video to include the documentation relevant to the fake sun, which is evidence speaking to the totality of the pattern of conduct where targeting by a corrupt public entity is identified in the specific environment in combination with the behavioral pattern of that mentally ill entity. That is demonic conduct, which is designed to keep under surveillance an American citizen in violation of their human and constitutional rights, which is the criminal activity of the terrorist organization currently going under the name of the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. that I documented this morning, and the entity is engaged in gang stalking at 215 East C Street, the OVITT Family Community Library, where I currently remain, subject to the same ceaseless pattern of conduct, which is revealing an unprecedented level of public corruption, which is embedded into society in the state of California. And the video that I'm capturing down here at the bottom, which is captured at 10:03 a.m., this is relevant to, this is a video that did cut short because of storage. And actually, it was because of my battery. And so this is why it died at 18 seconds, but this is to show you chronologically. I took the picture at 10:03 a.m. and 50 seconds, and this is when, again, the entity that's engaged in surveillance intentionally engages in the satanic pattern of conduct of crossing path. This is a ritual that demons are engaging in together. The demons that you see walking on foot, the demons who you see in vehicles, even the noise that you're listening to in the background, that these are demons who are monitoring. And this is relevant to the mental illness, which is what is manifested as impunity while you prosecute stalking by government in concert with the people of the state. In this video, the Ontario Police decide to communicate an unlawful threat while they're keeping the evidence of their targeting an American citizen, that is myself, under surveillance, and they're doing it in the environment. This is literally the crime scene, where the sun would not be at the same address like it is, like I documented, and I will review that right now. I want to go through this video that I captured. 663, and this is federal prison. This is the impunity. They're going to federal prison. Stalking by helicopter all night and gang stalking while they're molesting with impossible light activity. License 1697636. The fake sun's remaining after 6 p.m. That's a Latino male, vehicle 1119. All right, and this is where the video, my battery dies, and this is showing just as a matter of chronology, and it's all uploaded to the Google Drive as well. You can look at every picture and video captured based on chronological order. And this is the video that I immediately took. The fake sun is over the library where the Ontario police are gang stalking in the same exact manner as the people of the state. This is speaking to the identical condition, which is relevant to mental illness, and the criminal activity, which is relevant to public corruption. And with regard to a corrupt law enforcement agency that's engaging in criminal surveillance, they have committed a series of kidnappings pursuant to targeting, and that is mandating federal prison. This is what the Ontario Police Department, that is shall be disbanded, is going to be criminally prosecuted for their targeting and conformity to a pattern of conduct and crossing path while the entity is engaging in what is this documented act of stalking with impossible light under a fake sun, which, by the way, I also documented this morning, which I will remind you about at 7 a.m. at the same venue. This is the same OVITT Family Community Library. The entity is keeping the fake sun, as I'm documenting, at 7:31 a.m. The Ontario Police are gang stalking as a corrupt agency, intentionally engaging in what is presenting a threat, while you are stalking as that agency, having a pattern of kidnapping and waging false allegations maliciously as a means to criminally defame, and furtherance of that criminal pattern, the intent to kidnap and murder as an entity. So this is relevant to the fake sun being over at 10:03 a.m. where the Ontario Police are participating in what is a satanic ritual pursuant to stalking with impossible light, and they're doing so under the fake sun. This is the same OVITT Family Community Library at 7:31 a.m. this morning. Oops.
Right, this is 215 East C Street. This is the fake sun that's in alignment with me as I'm walking from across the street. This is a demon that's in custody of minor children while conspiring the murder of another person, of being a homosexual, while again living the life of what is ostensibly a heterosexual woman with children. She is stalking another woman.
And this is in reference to the video documentation captured at the Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue. That's the woman that I'm referring to while she is monitoring across the street where I'm documenting at this venue, OVITT Family Community Library, a sunrise and a sunset, meaning the sun does not move from this address, which is what I captured also yesterday evening after 6 p.m. where the Ontario Police are intentionally engaging in practicing what is ritualistic conduct, which is threatening the life of an American citizen who is also documenting it, while they are engaged in gang stalking, referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring under a fake sun. The sun would not be at one address from sunrise until sunset. So that's what I'm referring to with regard to a woman that's engaging, while you're analyzing the behavior of women that are stalking women, women that are stalking women in restrooms, women that are living their lives as heterosexuals, but yet they are sexually obsessed with the genitalia of another, which is the entity's condition while they're engaging in this sexually violent pattern of conduct.
And she's monitoring. She's also mentally ill while she's engaged in what is stalking with light activity at the Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue, which, by the way, the entity has the fake sun at 7:20 a.m. yesterday at American Inn. The morning of waking up at American Inn, the fake sun is over my hotel room window along Euclid Avenue, and that fake sun remains stationary, which I capture again during the 11 a.m. hour. That's relevant also to understanding the targeting conduct and the mental illness shared by the entity that is gang stalking. It is also notable that that is a parking lot that's across the way from this OVITT Family Community Library. The same OVITT Family Community Library that will have this sun at the entrance as I walk in at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is the entity that is engaging in what is an unpersuasive and unintelligent and scientifically impossible illusion. Right,
All right, and that's exactly what I captured at 10 o'clock in the morning, the same venue, 3 hours later, over my head, where the Ontario Police are engaged in what is identified as stalking, a malicious pattern of conduct that is satanic in nature. In addition, the fake sun is remaining well after 10 a.m. This is what I tied together with this video documentation at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the same venue.
And not being strangers, keeping the fake sun over me, where the entity is indeed gang stalking. This is Southwest Airlines. This is the plane activity that's amplified inside of the library, maintaining serial flight while I'm inside of the venue. Southwest Airlines is hovering over the 280 North Lemon Apartments, tracking my steps, knowing exactly where I'm at, and that knowledge, the impossibility that the sun would be anywhere in San Diego today when I'm sure.
This is the maintenance of a light source in a manner that is incongruent with nature, common sense, and science. This is where the people of the state are engaged in targeting, and this is what you're referring to. The entity is not only present in this environment. The people of the state, that includes this third party that you see targeting license 9M7P663. they're stalking in the path, and not just by presence in the environment, which is shown to be a scientific impossibility, that the sun would at 10 a.m., that the sun would at what is 7:31 a.m. Be present at the same address over the same person as well, or any combination of people, because this is not the characteristic of the sun. That's a constantly moving gaseous ball of fire, as opposed to a stationary idle object remaining adjacent to a building, whatever location at that building you are present at for over 11 to 12 hours. Not only are the people of the state, like this third party, documenting gang stalking in concert with the Ontario Police Department, engaging in terrorism and harassment, engaging in sexual violence, engaging in psychological torture together. They are engaging in a pattern of conduct, which includes stalking with light. And this is relevant to what I'm documenting as a pattern as well. And I will show you what the entity is engaging in, what this demon of the Ontario Police Department is engaging in, and what the people of the state are doing while they are at the OVITT Family Community Library today, pacing at the C Street turn circle. Pacing is identified by the combined act of stalking with impossible light. That is light shooting out like a laser under what is an idle fake sun that's present until the end of the day. This is relevant to the character of everything that's happening in this engineered environment, and it is conducive to criminal surveillance. All right, this is the entity in this video below. It's the same location, the C Street turn circle, and it's occurring at 1:47 in the afternoon. And this is the people of the state that are engaged in terrorism by stalking with impossible light, which is psychological torture practiced as a whole population who are not strangers. And this is preceding what is murder that is committed by that entity. And the Ontario Police Department are sharing in that satanic pattern of conduct. And this is a series of kidnappings that this department has engaged in thus far in 2025, which mandates federal prison. All right, the Ontario Police are gang stalking, engaging in this iteration of stalking with light that you'll see in this video.
Here you are. This is the state engaging in what I am speaking of. Repeated flying directly over. This is amplified audible activity. Serves the purpose of massive monitoring. This is being in the path. All right, and this is just one. They are monitoring through all traffic. They come across here. That's amplified train. Audible activity, same as plane. This is crossing the path. Note the light activity. On no time, in no way, is ever light naturally going to be shooting across, just like you see. That's the state directing light.
All right, I want you to look at that again. That's entirely demonic. It's evidence of targeting. It's also your physical evidence of demon possession. The entity that is targeting with light is the entity that is gang stalking a specific person, not a stranger. And that is also proven through the maintenance of a fake sun. This is captured in, again, December of 2020 at 1:47 p.m. And this is a person who I do not know, who was targeting me with impossible light, which is a documented pattern by the population of gang stalkers who are together conspiring murder. And they're doing that with the Ontario Police, who shares in this is what the Ontario Police Department committed this morning while gang stalking in that police vehicle under that fake sun, having a pattern of kidnapping and criminally defaming me and waging malicious allegations in doing so, which is mandating not only disbanding but federal prison for those that are gang stalking that I've documented of the Ontario Police.
All right, and this is just one. They are monitoring through all traffic. They come across here. That's amplified train. Audible activity, same as plane. This is crossing the path. Note the light activity. On no time, in no way, is ever light naturally.
Okay, that's impossible light activity. Look at that one more time.
In no way is ever light naturally.
Okay, I want you to see that one more time.
Note the light activity. On no time, in no way, is ever light naturally going to.
That is a demon. That's a demon that's driving, operating a vehicle who is targeting, and they're targeting under the fake sun. This is the same 280 North Limit Apartments that the Southwest Airlines are gang stalking at 2 in the afternoon, where the entity is targeting by commercial planes, which is amplified audible activity, while crossing path using planes, aerial surveillance at the same address where I'm showing a pattern of stalking with impossible light activity, light that is targeting me, moving around the surface, and also the sex offender that molests my body with impossible light. This is where surveillance is underway, and surveillance is underway by the demon possessed, and it includes the Ontario Police Department that are a corrupt domestic terrorist organization, not a law enforcement agency. Okay, this is relevant to this same venue.
Where the entity is indeed gang stalking. This is Southwest Airlines. This
Southwest Airlines is flying over.
Inside of the library, fields was gang aiding this sex offender, this terrorist.
This is the same location right here that you're looking at, that impossible light activity happening. I've been documenting the pattern of conduct for years, and what I'm documenting, that's terrorism, while the entity is stalking you with light, stalking you under a fake sun, because that's what's connecting everyone and everything in that supernatural environment. This is relevant to the entity that is indeed targeting while crossing path. That is the proper jargon regarding recognizing targeting by a police department, like the Ontario Police.
9 MZP 663, and this is federal prison. This is the impunity. They're going to federal prison. Stalking by helicopter all night and gang stalking while they're molesting with impossible light activity. License 1697636. The fake sun's remaining after 6 p.m. That's a Latino male, vehicle 1119.
Okay, and this is where my video dies. The light activity that is moving across the Ontario building, the OVITT Family Community Library, is likened to this light activity that I'm capturing here. This is the pattern of conduct that the Ontario police are demonstrating. They are demons, and I've documented them on more than one occasion, stalking me with impossible light and stalking an engineered light, which is present under the fake sun and at nightfall. It is criminal surveillance, and it is that which is psychologically torturous behavior that is preceding murder that the entity that is targeting an American citizen has conspired. This is proven through that pattern of conduct, and the entity is doing so absent any constitutional authority. And so I do want to give also big picture regarding targeting. The Ontario Police Department is stalking by helicopter this morning at the Ontario Town Square at 9:46 a.m. and this is what I'm capturing while the fake sun is over me at essentially the same location, 224 North Euclid Avenue, which is across the walkway from the OVITT Family Community Library, and you're looking at the fake sun still over me at this venue, where I've also documented at the Ontario Town Square the fake sun after 6 p.m. where this department is also targeting using helicopters. This is the hallmark of recognizing targeting, and the entity is also doing so, as you can look at a map, and I will show you where the fake sun is rising over me this morning on the street of Euclid Avenue, where this entity is engaged in indeed very specific targeting proven through a supernatural environment. The entity is maintaining the environment around me while I am subject to targeting by the Ontario Police Department specifically, which is also what I documented at 12 o'clock in the morning. This is the same Euclid Avenue. And at 7:17 a.m., the people of the state, a population of demons, are gang stalking together in a specific environment, all together stalking with impossible light, doing so in vehicles, doing so on foot, doing so while they are sharing a pattern of conduct where the entity keeps a fake sun in alignment to me. And this is Euclid Avenue, and C Street, the OVITT Family Community Library, is off of Euclid Avenue as well. And this is again 3 hours of the sun being on the same street, where a population of demon-possessed people are violent sex offenders together conspiring the murder of an American citizen that they are gang stalking together. Okay, and just to be clear, let me show you a map where you will see 415 East North Euclid Avenue. This is where the fake sun was present over me, and you're looking at the distance, or the lack of 0.3 miles to walk from what is 415 North Euclid Avenue to 224 North Euclid Avenue, which is the Ontario Town Square. Okay, which the way that I walk straight down this street, and this is the Ontario Town Square right here. This is the C Street where the Ontario police are gang stalking on video, where the people of the state are stalking me, targeting me with impossible light activity. This is the OVITT Family Community Library. The fake sun on this side of the building at 7. The fake sun on this side at the entrance at 10:03 a.m. That is the entity that is stalking under a fake sun. Big picture is that this is where the fake sun is rising at 7:17 in the morning, and on the same street, this is Euclid Avenue right here. Off of Euclid Avenue is the OVITT Family Community Library, where the fake sun is remaining off of the same street. This is again the entity that is keeping the fake sun, as you've looked at my documentation, into the evening. And while I'm capturing this video, I'll go ahead and remind you about what you saw yesterday in the documentation. The documentation of the Ontario police targeting me in the specific environment is the evidence that is serving to disband that department for kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice while they are targeting with the people of the state. This is the same entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library where that fake sun is present at 6:26 p.m. where this demon of the Ontario Police Department is targeting in concert with the people of the state. And this is intentionally and knowingly while keeping the evidence of targeting me under surveillance. This is harassment. This is domestic terrorism. It is an unlawful threat posed by that entity committing a series of kidnappings with the intent to obstruct justice. And they are demons doing so under a fake sun. All right, this is relevant to the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department, committing kidnappings with the people of the state, who are subject to federal prison as well. It is currently, again, September 3rd, 2025. It's 12:13 p.m. at the OVITT Family Community Library, where the entity is engaged in the ongoing pattern of conduct. P.O.C. License 6CYM280 8TEY075 7VLK539 8C07375 8UMH340 8MQB725 7MAM913 9TIH520 9EFH194 AM Hart BAJA 22564U3 5XPU140 9GHV702 79849A2 8SPN489 8VQA505 9515. It's like 7Y2 Okay, and gang stalking, communicating an unlawful threat with impunity, worthy of federal prison, sharing in the criminal elements of monitoring in concert with the kidnappers and co-conspirators to murder the Ontario Police. This is third-party license 9MZP663, engaging in what is molestation via impossible light activity. And Ontario Police are gang stalking in a police department vehicle with license 1697636, and that is vehicle 1119, and that appeared to be a Latino male.